For staying with us, let's now take you through the front pages of Nigerian newspapers this Monday morning to see what the headlines will be, and we'll return for a quick analysis of some of the headlines we will be seeing here today. The Nation newspaper is where we're going to first, and this is on politics as we see House of Reps Minority Caucus boils over leadership. What kind of boiling is this? We will tell you when we return for that. The Blueprint newspaper is where we're going to write about now. And we see here rally behind Tinubu to build Nigeria, not pull it down. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. The Daily Times, again on politics. And right here, 2027, Bakare cautions Southwest not to work against Tinubu, of course. Yeah. The Leadership newspaper is where we're going to, and this time around they are shifting the attention on something else right here. Pressure mounts on Science Minister Naji to resign. This is bordering on alleged certificate forgery. We saw some of the things the federal government is doing to, nip this in the future. We'll talk when we come back to analyze. The Punch newspaper is shining the spotlight on security. Terrorism, retired generals back calls for state of emergency. Where, and where? We'll get to know when we come back for a look at that. The Platform Times is where we're going to right about now. Southwest stakeholders reject $2.5 billion JBS industrial farming plan. Warn of food colonialism. They should pass this money to me. I won't reject it. But we'll talk. Abuja Inquirer is where we're going to right about now. Rising rents, housing shortfall squeeze Abuja residents. Okay. Minister Nyesom Wike, one for you right there. This Nigeria talking flood in the country. Flood tension rises as Kainji Jeba Shiroro set for discharge. And the Guardian newspaper is where we're going to right about now. Government may earn 1 trillion naira yearly from capital gains as new tax courses stare. January is in the offing. We'll see. And finally, the Sport and Life, where we'll always draw the curtains. And this is shining the light on the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. Aka wants crocodiles. Cheetah. I always wonder the names football, have. But guess what? We don't have them kind of names this morning for what is going on in the politics. The Nation newspaper, House of Reps Minority Caucus are boiling over leadership. The writer here says pro-anti-Kingsley Chinda group sets for shutdown and crucial meeting is to hold today. I'm wondering, I was thinking by now, would have some kind of synergy between whatever caucus is in the House.
Oh yeah, Kingsley Chinda is PDP. He's from PDP. And the minority parties there are saying that he's taking too much advice from the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, and they do not see themselves as autonomous the way they should be. And that if a leader is always running to another person for advice, then there's an issue. And because of that, they want him out. They need a leader that can stand alone, strong, and so on. They'll be having that meeting today. That meeting is going to be a ruckus. I can assure you. I can assure you of that. And at the end of the day, it will be interesting to see what happens, what came out of that meeting at the end of the day. I'm waiting, very interested and waiting.
But Ibrahim, doesn't that underscore some of the, should I use the word, accusation leveled against Nyesom Wike as somebody who has a strong grip, controlling things? Again, Chinda is of the PDP, so, that's one of my strings.
That is where I want to start from, because if you look at, I don't understand why they force, because the person you're fighting against, one is someone who represents the PDP in the House of Representatives, who is the minority leader. And then you also have the person you're accusing him of frolicking with is the FCT minister, is a PDP member, even though PDP also allowed him, they gave him the go-ahead to work with the APC in the capacity he is working now. So why should you be bothered about what he does? But we understand politics in this country. It's all about, yes, he is for us, even though he claims, sorry, he's against us, even though he claims to be for us, because we can see clearly that he is you know, a party kind of a person with the APC. But all the same, the only challenge that I have, the only worry that I have for the PDP is that PDP is being battered left, right, and center, from the national to the sub-nationals, now to the House of Representatives, to the National Assembly generally. So if they should not, or if they are not able to rein in their members, look for ways to address some of these lingering crises, 2027, they are going to explode before then.
Olamide, if I could take you a little bit away from political matters, let's talk this out. I know you'd be really interested in this. Again, still on the Nation newspaper. Today is World Teachers or Teachers Day.
That's amazing.
Yes, and First Lady is saying that teachers are the real heroes. Olamide, could you give us a brief, of how, which teacher impacted you whilst he was, should I say secondary or university? Which one?
All of them join. I do. Absolutely. I think that all throughout my life, I've had various teachers, and not just in terms of the traditional institutions. Even on this very set, I've learned so much, and I think that it's important that we all go about our lives as though we're teachers. We must be in a constant state of learning, a constant state of growing. It's good that we're saying this about the teachers and national heroes, but I want to see it reflected in their salaries, in the way that we treat them, in their welfare, in the way that we treat the schools that they're teaching in. I want to see more than just talk. I want to see it reflect in their daily lives. Teachers are truly the cornerstone of society. I can't say it any better myself.
I will take that from you, because my mom was a teacher.
My father was a lecturer as well.
Okay, yeah.
My father was a lecturer.
80% of my family are teachers.
You see what we're saying?
Teacher, my dad retired head teacher.
Really?
So the country should take better care of them.
And they say that a nation cannot rise above the quality of the teachers that they have. So meaning that they have to take care of the teachers. They train doctors, they train lawyers, they train all the professions.
They train the politicians.
They train the politicians. But they didn't train politicians to be, But the Blueprint newspaper is where we're going to next now, Netoma.
Yes.
This call for supporting President Bola Tinubu and not to pull him down. I'm thinking if President Tinubu, alongside other politically elected persons right now in this country, have the support they need and they also deliver on their oath, then Nigeria will be better off.
You see, this call is coming from the UN Deputy Scribe to Nigeria. These people have... they have information about the economy, and they are very well schooled about things like that. And they see what the president is doing. They understand and can interpret it clearly, like ABC, unlike most of us that do not understand some of the things that are happening. And we are criticizing Mr. President. These people see it. They know it. They understand it. I guess that is why he came out and said, look, support this man. He's taking you guys down the right road. It's a good one coming from such a personality, and I would call on Nigerians to take this call very seriously.
Indeed. And Ibrahim, if I would stay with you right there on the Blueprint newspaper, Serap is saying to the governors, account for 14 trillion naira fuel subsidy savings. About time, because we'll always talk about the government at the center, and we forget that there are people who are eating fat from this box.
Yes, we do not have. We don't have these governors to be there just for the sake of being governors. Some of them call themselves not call themselves. They behave like the emperors, so much so that they do not, kowtow to accountability, being very much responsible to the living of the people. So the problem there is now we are having more than ×2 or ×3 of the allocations they were used to getting before the removal of fuel subsidy. Now that fuel subsidy has been removed, what exactly are they doing with these monies? How much of infrastructure have they put on the ground? How much of farming produce have they churned out from their states? So we are having crises left, right, and center, so much so that Nigerians can read out the budget of the federal government offhand, but they do not have any information about the state government's budget and that of the local government. So we should begin to ask questions from these local governments, from these governors of different states.
Indeed. And Olamide, the Daily Times is talking 207, and we see here Bakare is cautioning the Southwest not to work against President Bola Tinubu.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Actually, Pastor Tunde Bakare, when I read this article, he frames politics as a very divine endorsement. He's saying politics comes from God, and I don't know if I particularly favor that framing. You know what I mean? We need policy on ground, but he's basically saying that power comes from above, and I don't know about the framing of that. It's very idealistic, whereas the realities on ground for us are very, very different.
Well, I don't want to go into the Bible now because there were plenty of examples to show you for that. But however, Itoma, the Leadership newspaper. This certificate forgery matter of the Minister of Science being pressured to step out of the way. Civil society groups, lawyers, others say he must leave. And, the court turned down minister's request to stop release of academic records. What's going on here?
This happens in Nigeria a lot. In other climes, if you're accused of something, even not as serious as this, you will step aside, you will resign. You want to keep your name, you want to keep your dignity, and so on. Unfortunately, that is not the case with Uche Nnaji, that has this certificate scandal running around. My advice is that, sir, do the honorable thing.
And take a walk. When we have people who are supposed to be in leadership position who declare, maybe this person in case, allegedly declared himself to be having certain certificates which he didn't have based on the research that had been done. Section 366, Section 368 as well of the Criminal Code Act is said that this act is actually punishable by 14 years imprisonment. So one thing is, people have to be very careful because we can't have people in leadership position and then we don't trust them because of what they do. So what exactly are you being
This is a very, very brazen move, if I do say so myself. When he was sworn in, he handed over these documents and said they are correct. To have the mind to do such a thing, knowing fully well, this is that you don't trust that there are checks and balances in place to curtail you. It's a brazen move, if you ask me.
The funny thing is that the Constitution does not give you such a high bar as far as education is concerned for you to be anything in Nigeria.
And I love the fact that the courts are not shielding Minister Nnaji from scrutiny. They're saying we're going to release the documents and we're going to put a thorough investigation into this. We're not shielding you. The University of Nsukka and Nigeria Nsukka also came out to say they've been very, very transparent. And I think that's important.
Why do we even lie when you know that people will do, or they will ferret out this information no matter how much
I wish we had the time, but maybe they should look our way. But Ibrahim, the Punch newspaper, this issue of terrorism, retired generals are calling for state of emergency. Said Borno dismisses calls Say Rabo entitled to his own opinion.
Well, people asking the question, when you were there, what did you do?
Right.
But one thing he said is that there is no political will, to fight these terrorists. We know that some of them are, because it has come to our notice that, some foreign nationals look at the Sahelian country, they say they are going to release some names of sponsors of Boko Haram. They've arrested those of them among them. They also released for Nigeria. Nobody's even asking them, give us this name pronto so that we know how to deal decisively, with them. The UAE also released some names, about 100. We did not take action. We don't even know these people. But they prosecuted people that they had. So it has come to our notice that even US, UK, mentioned some of this country, they come with their conspiracy, theories, saying that, yes, Muslims are killing Christians in Nigeria, when we know that is. Because when you fire into the market, the bullets will not recognize whether you're a Muslim or a Christian. You kill everybody. So it has come to our notice that those who are terrorists are not always the turban or the long rope wearing people. Some of them are in suits.
Oh, yes.
But this, for me, is still a matter. Again, that gives birth to or gives rise to the conversation we're about to have today, the high cost, of food in the northwest of our country. It's insecurity that is fueling some of these things. But let me take you to the Platform Times newspaper, talking about food, industrial farming. About time we go full hand, especially in the southwest and other parts of the country. Because if we're seeing high cost of goods coming from the northern part, we at the southwest and southeast should also look at commercializing or going into large-scale production of food?
Absolutely. My biggest fear with industrial farming is the displacement of local farmers. Currently, they produce over 70% of Nigeria's food, and that is my biggest fear, because not only are these people commercially farming, but they're also subsistence farming, and so they're feeding themselves and their families. We have to put these people in mind when we look at big industrial farming deals like this, and because those are the people that are on ground that are going to suffer the most and be displaced.
Yes, they will be displaced.
And so the issue now is about sovereignty of food versus corporate control of food. And the issue here will be finding a middle ground.
That's right. That's right. Wow. But Etoma, I'm sure you'll find a middle ground in Abuja, where on the Abuja Inquirer, where rent is soaring.
My family lives in Abuja, that is not easy.
Nelson, hold your thoughts. We are supposed to go on a very quick break. Just stay with us on TVC Breakfast. We'll be right back.